Hey everyone, I'm Anna Huthmaker with Huthmaker Violins, and this is another one of our Students Stuck at Home series. The idea is to help the teachers when they're doing all this digital learning and help the students learn some cool things that you might not already know. So some of the things I'm going to talk about today, I think you will already know, because we're going to talk about rosin. We get a lot of questions about rosin, and when a new person comes in for the very first time to get their rental instrument, the rosin is usually the thing they're most excited about and the thing they want to know the most about. So the first question is, why do we use rosin? I can tell you that the horsehair on your bow, and if you haven't checked it out, you should go back and check out my second or third video. I don't remember which one it is. It's all about horsehair and you'll learn a lot. It's really cool. But the thing you should know is that the horsehair will not make any sound or very little sound if you don't put rosin on it. So rosin is technically tree sap. Of course, it's much cleaner than normal tree sap you would scrape off a pine tree. But the rosin itself gives the hair the grip that it needs to make the string vibrate and give you a beautiful sound. When you first start playing, get your very first bow, it may not have any rosin on it at all. And in a violin shop, what we usually do is we start by putting powdered rosin on your bow. That gives you something to start with, and it makes the regular rosin stick really, really well. So if anyone ever comes in and says, I need rosin, I have no rosin on my bow, that's the first thing I do. But most of you guys won't ever have powdered rosin at home. And just as an aside, if you're a gymnast or a dancer, don't use that rosin that you use for those sports. It's totally different. We use all different kinds of rosin, but it really falls into two categories, light rosin and dark rosin. Most of the teachers around here prefer the dark rosin. Dark rosin is just a little bit stickier. Now, we're talking about hard rosins. So these are going to be for violin, viola, and cello. I've used dark rosin my entire life. Some people like light rosin. They both will work beautifully. It's a preference. But the question we get the most often is, how much rosin? How do I know if I've got too much? How do I know if I have too little? Well, let me just start off by saying that if smoke signals are coming off your bow when you play like that, that is not good. That is way too much rosin. If you play and it's really scratchy, you probably have too much rosin. I like people to start off rosining once every 2 or 3 days, maybe even 4 days. What will happen is the longer you play, the more you'll be able to tell if you need rosin. If you go to play and it feels really slick, really slippery, that's when you know it's time for some more rosin. And with rosin, a little bit goes a long way. And if you notice, what I'm doing, I'm putting a little extra on the bottom next to the frog, a little extra on the top, and then just nice, long, slow strokes. And just a little bit. And then, oh, that sounds better. I'll need a little bit more. This was a brand new bow, by the way. But you'll learn from the feeling how often you should do it. Now, rosin will break if you drop it. So if I drop this and it shatters, you can try and use a cigarette lighter and melt the pieces back together, but basically you probably just need to buy another one. That's why so many student rosins actually are in a wooden frame. So they're much tougher. It's a lower quality of rosin, but it still works great. So I have a lot of people ask me, there's 500 kinds of rosin on the market, which one's better? The truth is, good rosin is good rosin. But as you become more and more and more advanced, you might want to play with some of them. There's some fancy rosins out there. There's some made with olive oil. There are some made with little shavings of gold in them and silver and platinum. And people will say to you, they'll say, this one gives me more grip. This one gives me a brighter sound, a little bit more edge. As you learn more and more your instrument, you will have opinions about those things. You can try out different ones. But from the beginning, just a good quality rosin. All of these rosins, they don't have many impurities. You know, they're nice, clean, clear rosin, and they're going to give you a great sound. The last thing I want to say about this is, my bass player friends, we have our own rosin. Bass rosin is a completely different animal. It is exactly like the tree sap you scrape off a pine tree. If I stick a quarter on top of this and stick it out in the sun for a couple hours, I'll come back and that quarter will actually be in the bottom. I can dig my fingernail into this. It's really soft. And if I leave it on its side, it will run out over this glass countertop over the next few hours. Base rosin should always be kept in its container. Base rosin, when you use it, go in one direction only, frog the tip, and don't pull too terribly hard. This stuff is so sticky you literally could pull the hair out of your bow. Never, ever, ever, ever use base rosin on a violin, viola, or cello bow, and never, ever, ever use violin, viola, cello rosin on a bass bow. I'm sure you will find a professional somewhere that goes, but wait, this one time. But 99.9% of the time, our rosins need to be kept really, really separate. I hope that answers some of your questions about rosin. If you put too much rosin on, by the way, you're not going to hurt a thing. Just practice an extra couple hours till some of it wears off. And don't forget, when you're done every day, I don't care if you play violin, viola, cello, or bass, wipe off your strings so that rosin doesn't build up and start affecting your sound and the life of the string. If you have any questions about that, go to huthmakerviolins.com and send me an email. I'll be happy to answer them. And before you get offline today, shoot your teacher an email and say thank you for all the hard work you're putting towards us learning orchestra while we're stuck at home. I'm Anna Huthmaker from Huthmaker Violins. Now go rosin your bow.